Visual chaos and the aura. After the phosphenes obtained by direct stare of a light source, and those obtained by the reflection of light, there is a third variety of phosphenes that one can easily perceive in the dark without having previously set the light source. Simply by closing your eyes and watching your visual field. Or better, at night, if you are awake, do not open your eyes and do not turn on the light. You will find that your field of vision is not totally black, is not totally dark, contrary to what one might think, but will appear some bright waves and colorful spots. This is what we call the visual chaos, which is made up of spontaneous phosphenes provoked by cerebral activity. They are visual perceptions of interhemispheric trade. When the details of the visual chaos are observed, we realize that it gradually becomes clearer, it becomes brighter, and colors appear, and the movements and forms are growing. Having thus increased the density of visual chaos, one can easily perceive it with open eyes. It is what makes some people say they see aura, as they describe only the colors and movements that are the rhythms and colors of their own visual chaos. This perception of the numerous varieties of phosphenes and the experiences they produce are accessible to everyone. When we are trained in the practice of phosphenism, it is easy to perceive the visual chaos with the eyes wide open. If I observe my partner, in no time I see around him colored tablecloths, particularly around his head. I see purple. Blue, I see yellow. Then it's me, according to my faculties, to my capacities, who will make an interpretation, a bit like the clairvoyant who makes you pick the cards and will read the tarots. It is not, you guessed it, his aura that I perceive, but simply the organization of my visual field. I get asked the question on the pictures of aura. Photos of aura are not pictures of aura itself. The process is simply to put someone's hand on a plate with sensors that will measure the hydrometry of the hand. Then, a camera linked to a computer takes the picture, and depending on the hydrometry of the hand, various colors will set around on the photo. Depending on whether the hydrometry is higher on the fingertips or in the palm, the colors will be different around the photo. More moisture of the hand, and the greater the picture will go towards purple. Therefore, if you are under stress and have sweaty hands, well, you are more spiritual. So, as you can see, this is very far from the true spiritual teachings. The Kirlian effect, the Kirlian photo, absolutely not fall within the domain of initiatory research. The Kirlian effect measures the electromagnetic force fields. The interest of the Kirlian effect is only for therapeutic application. In Mystics and Magicians of Tibet, Alexandra David Nail, which for the record Dr. Lefebvre was her doctor, describes the different kinds of seclusions practiced by the religious. I quote, "Meditating in the dark is a well-known practice in India and in most Buddhist countries. The people of Burma build special rooms for that purpose. I saw different kinds during my stay in the Sagaing Mountains, but the monks only spend a few hours in them. In Tibet, on the contrary, There are people who stay in the dark for several years. Some even bury themselves for life in those kinds of tombs. It is obvious that in these conditions of complete darkness, the lamas obtain an extremely rich and dense visual chaos. The impressive amount of time spent by the Tibetans on that focusing shows how important the technique is to them. But once you understand the physiological principles governing initiatory techniques, you realize that you do not need to practice such a strict asceticism. Visual chaos, after the phosphene, is one of the easiest forms of subtle energy to perceive and observe and leads to very interesting neurological phenomena. That technique is used in particular for developing phenomenal visions in clairvoyance and for provoking the exteriorization of consciousness outside of the body. Even physical light caused by neurological activity has its corollary, the spiritual light. That technique consists of observing the details of a totally subjective light. From a philosophical point of view, it is like seeking or going towards the light. That process belongs to all genuine initiatory traditions, and the practice of focusing on direct or indirect sources of light is universal. When I speak of subjective phenomena, that does not mean unreal phenomenon. If we take the case of the dream is a completely subjective phenomenon. You cannot approve that you are dreaming of such a journey. We know that everyone dreams, thanks to neurological activity detected by the devices. But it is absolutely impossible to know the content of the dream. Everyone dreams. A completely subjective phenomenon, and yet objective since everyone dreams. Incidentally, many objective phenomena are only the collective subjective. So, do not get stuck to this word subjective. Subjective does not necessarily mean unreal. As for the neurological activity, it must be understood that our brain works by neurological crisis and emits an energy field, a light field that results in visual perceptions. But beyond these visual perceptions, there is the spiritual phenomenon. Visual perception can trigger spiritual phenomenon, which is why in all initiatory teachings, all religious, all those who are looking into the mystical way seek this light perception in the visual field, because everyone feels or knows this triggers the phenomena of an absolutely startling intensity. In the next video, I'll talk about another variety of phosphenes called diffuse glow or perception of the etheric field.